Good evening. I'm Gary Johnson, and I'll be going over the airport traffic patterns. As for an overview, I will be talking about the normal approach and landings for towered airport operations and non-towered airport operations. So our normal approach and landing, when we are abeam the aiming point, we want to start the preliminary landing checklist. Abeam means when we are directly 90 degrees from our aiming point. On the downwind, when we are abeam our aiming point, we want to reduce the power to 1,500 RPM. We want to confirm that the airspeed is below 110 knots, and then we are going to add flaps to 10 degrees. We do this to start our descent, and when we are on the downwind, we want to lose roughly 200 feet to 300 feet. Once we have lost 200 feet to 300 feet and we are 45 degrees from the touchdown point, we want to clear the area, then turn base. When we are on the base, we want to maintain the heading by crabbing into the wind if needed. It's just like a rectangular course. To stay on course, we want to crab into the wind. To make sure that we stay on course. We want to make sure that our airspeed is below 85 knots. And then we're going to add 20 degrees of flaps to slow us to 75 knots. When we're on the base, we also want to lose about 300 feet, and then we will complete the landing checklist. We're going to clear final and clear the opposite base, and then we're going to turn final. When we're on final, we want to add 30 degrees of flaps to slow to 65 knots, and we're going to maintain 65 knots until we touch down. This was considered a stabilized approach, and we're going to confirm that it is a stabilized approach. But in the event that it is not stabilized, we will initiate a go around. As we're approaching the touchdown point, we want to begin our round out as we enter ground effect. Once our performance wears off, we want to flare approximately 8 degree pitch up to gently land on the runway. First, we want to let the main wheels touch the runway and then gently let the nose landing gear land on the runway. As for towered airports and their traffic pattern procedures, for propeller-driven aircraft, the traffic pattern altitude is 1,000 feet AGL unless otherwise indicated. For most airports, it is 1,000 feet AGL, but in their chart supplements, it could depict that the traffic pattern altitude is more or less. It just depends on the airport. Same goes for the left turns. Unless otherwise indicated, all turns must be made to the left. If it's indicated on the chart supplement, it could show a right turn pattern. As for pilots of departing aircraft, they should communicate with the control tower on the appropriate ground control clearance delivery frequency to receive taxi and or clearance information. They must stay on the frequency until they're ready to request for takeoff clearance or directed by the tower ground control. All of this is in accordance with the section 3 of the AIM. It says pretty much that pilots should maintain two-way radio contact with the tower until they're told to switch frequencies. For non-towered airports, in the advisory circulars, it states that left patterns should be established except where obstacles dictate otherwise. Some examples could be like if there's an obstacle or like maybe low terrain, you want to have right patterns could be established. Otherwise, it should be left patterns to make it standard. Entry to the downwind leg should be a 45 degree angle abeam the midpoint of the runway. Traffic pattern altitude is 1,000 feet AGL unless otherwise depicted to, again, the chart supplements. For takeoffs and go-arounds, the airplanes should continue straight until they're beyond the departure point of the runway. When they're departing the pattern, they should exit with a 45-degree left turn beyond the departure point of the runway. All of this is to ensure that there's a standard that everybody follows to prevent any unnecessary hazards, and then the airspeed limit is 200 knots. So, for summary, I have talked about the normal approach and landing, towered airport operations, and non-towered airport operations for airport traffic patterns. These are my references. Thank you.